Welcome to Family History the Smart Way. My name is Heather Stovold, and I am the Smart Genealogist. Today, I'm going to be discussing how to organize your computer files for genealogy. There are almost as many ways to organize your genealogy files as there are people that are doing genealogy. The important thing is to figure out what is going to work for you. There are 4 or 5 main methods that are very common for people to use, but I'm sure that there are other ones as well. Today I'm going to go through 5 of the more common methods. Be aware that on my computer I do not actually do all of these 5 methods, so not all of the folders are 100% set up, but just a sampling, just so you can get an idea of how it would work. The first method is a method that's generally used for archives for the physical and paper items that they receive. And that is that they just go and they number the items sequentially, at least within a certain collection. I've been working on going through a bunch of paper files that I received from my mom. And while I was trying to decide the system I was going to use, I used the by order method, and you can see it here. I've numbered the files starting at 1, and basically the first document I looked at got a file number of 1. Sorry about that. And then the next document I got was number 2, and the third document was number 3, and so forth. This system can work very well and is quite simple, but it usually requires another program or a spreadsheet or something to help you keep track of the files. This is what this could look like. Also, I found when I was doing this that I actually liked the list method because I could see the whole file name. I do use a color coding system for my files and folders, and for my paper files and folders. And I use a program called FileMarker.net to color code my files, and a companion program called Folder Marker to similarly mark my folders. I've been using the free versions of these programs for quite a few years, but this Christmas I gave myself the birthday present of the professional version of the folder marker. Anyway, that is the first system, and you'll want good file names, which I will go through at the end. I've actually slightly changed the file name system since I scanned all of these documents. So that was the first method, by order received. The second method that I'm going to mention is the Mary Hill system. Mary Hill has been a genealogist for a long time, and she created a system for paper files. It uses a color coding system for the 4 different grandparents that you have and the people on their lines. You can get more information about how you do that on genrootsorganizer.com, and I will add that link into the comments. If you're using the Mary Hill coloring system, you may or may not want to use a similar system on your computer. And if you do, this is what it could end up looking like. I'm going to make those a little bit larger. So you have 4 colors for each of your grandparents. Your paternal grandfather is in blue. Your paternal grandmother is in green. Your maternal grandfather is in red. And your maternal grandmother is in yellow. I'm using a similar system for my husband's lines. So on in the paper files, I use the same color file folders and are in a different box. On the computer, I'm using different shades. So a light blue, a dark green, a pink, and an orange. I also am using another file box as suggested by Mary Hill for descendants of me and my husband. And she uses orange in her paper files. I'm using gray. At, at least I'm using gray on my electronic files. Now, to go in further, um, basically each file folder is actually a couple. I've here just named them by a single person. And by using Windows shortcuts, I'm setting up a folder for a whole family. So this is my mother, who is deceased, um, and her brother, who's also deceased. He is using a baby boy symbol, so I know that he's not on the direct line, but is a collateral relative. And this is my grandmother. And then there'd be all of the files. I'm not currently using the system, so I just put in one file as an example. Windows organizes real folders alphabetically and then follows it by shortcut folders and then the files. So that's why uh, the collateral um, child, my uncle, is being displayed first. I could click on a shortcut and go to the other person's file. I have not set that file up. The third system I did not actually set up for you to see, but it's very similar to the Mary Hall system. Although each folder would be a separate person and only that person's records. Again, you can share records between people um, using Windows shortcuts. I know that Macintosh has a similar system. I don't remember what they're called. Something like mirrors. Um, so in this other system, uh, you would have folders for Ahnentafel number. So if you're not familiar with Ahnentafel numbers, each person's father is double their number, and each person's mother is double your number plus one. It's actually simpler than it sounds like. I would be number one. My dad and mom are number 2 and 3. My grandparents are 4, 5, 6, and 7. My great grandparents would be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And it just continues on like that. This can also be a good way, and you can use color coding to remind yourself of which line that they're on. I just happened to remember this system and did not set one up to show you. The next system is just basically surnames, and this is again usually one file per person, using shortcuts or a system that you know where to find um, the actual uh, document within the folders. So a surname system, you may or may not want to break it down by the alphabet. I find that once you've got a fair number of people, you probably do want to break it down. And then there's a file folder for each surname that you have. And then you go in and there's a file folder for each person that you have. And you may want um, the collateral individuals just done alphabetically, or you might want them again within your main people's file folders. If you are not using um, anything to help identify your mainline people, you might want to do something like starting off their name with a star, or not a star, a exclamation point. You may also want to add in some sort of numbering systems that they're showing in the order that you're related to them. Um, and the next system, the fifth one, is the one I'm currently trying out that I think I am enjoying, and that is by document type. And I'm just going to bring in some large icons here. So again, as I'm a really visual person, I like having different icons so I can quickly identify the folder. And I bought the genealogy icons from Folder Marker to do so. I find that they're really, really nice. So I put underscores on birth, marriage, and death because they're kind of the main records that you get, and I just wanted them up at the front, and then the rest are just alphabetical by type. So for birth, marriage, and death, I just go straight into the surnames underneath it, and then you can see the various documents. And if I do them as small documents, I've got them color coded. Ivan at this moment is not color coded because he's a collateral relative and is not a direct line. For some other types of information, I break it down even more. For instance, census. I found these icons someplace else. It's flags of various countries. I was able to add them in to my folder marker. I then go into the country, and then either like whichever year it is, and there I have the file. I do prefer doing this by location rather than by, say, surname, mainly because I do have some census documents that have more than one family member or one family related household on the same page. So that allows me to easily um, share the document and not have to worry about it being in more than one place, not having to worry about making shortcuts. I find that for me so far, this method's working the best because I can quickly go, okay, I want the census record in 1939 for Smart George or George Smart, and I can very quickly find it. There it is. Um, this just seems to fit the way my mind is working a bit better. Also, the big thing with with Windows is you can do a search for documents if you have an idea what the file name is, and that will search underneath in subfolders. And also, I figure I'm linking these documents in my genealogy program. And so, if for some reason I can't think of what documents I have for a person, I can quickly go into that program and see. And I'm also using clues to help sort through documents. And I can quickly go into clues and pick a person and see what documents I have available and find it in an instant with the links there. Last thing I want to talk about is file names. And file names, again, are a pretty personal thing. Everybody likes a different system. One thing I found that is important is to write up what your system is so that you can be consistent. And I have this document right there. It's the first file in my genealogy documents folder. And I wrote it thinking not just of myself, but of someone who might come further or come later. Um, this is the main things you want your file names to have are 4 of the 5 W's: who, what, when, and where. You also might want an other in there, so going into censuses again, is a 1911 census. For most systems, you will want the year first. And I use that, the 4-digit year, no matter what. Some people, if they have the full date, will use the full date going year, month, day in numerical format. So, for instance, 1911-01-05 would be January 5th, 1911. Because the computer sorts alphabetically, that would keep your files sorted um, basically by date, by going year, month, day in a numerical format. I like having the all of the surnames lined up, so I just do everything to the 4-digit year. If I want the exact date, I can find it quickly by opening up the document if it has an exact date. Next in my system would be the who, and for that I'm using the last name and the first name. I will optionally add in the middle name for when I have people that are named the same, and if necessary, I would also add the birth date with like an underscore B 1901 if I needed that um, to differentiate between different same named ancestors. But I'm trying to keep my file names relatively short, so I only do that in the instances where there may be a question on who it is. My next thing is basically a short source name of where I got the document from. And I've got ANC for ancestry, DVS for one of the provincial divisions of vital statistics, FS for family search, GRO for England's General Registry Office, MH for my heritage, mom if it's from mom's files and I'm not sure where she got it from. And at the moment, I've got other and unknown, OTH and UNK. So that's that part. Type is the type of event, and I'm using GEDCOM codes for that. They have uh, about a 4-letter code for pretty much every event, and I just like the standardization. And then, uh, so that would be the what. And the where, I am using the ISO codes for countries. So CA for Canada, GB for Great Britain, US for USA, and a quick Google search will find you any of those. So in my file system, here's the who, the what, the where is in what country the event happened, also the where as in where I found it, the when, and on this document I don't have an other. I do on any of the ones where I have the original document. I now put that at the end. I think I've got a marriage here. Yeah, so okay, so who? So Smart George and Mary and Ward May. The what? They were married. When? In 1928. Where? It happened in Great Britain, and I found it in the General Registry Office. And then I can find the paper version in my files. It's number 97. Again, you need to think about what's going to work for you and how your mind works. But I hope that this has been helpful. And thank you for watching Family History the Smart Way. And please like and subscribe. Thank you.